So have you ever noticed how one person's reaction can change your entire emotional state? Has it ever happened that you walked into a room with confidence and you're interacting with confidence, but that one person, she's kind of bitchy or she acts up, and then it affects your emotional state? Or you're talking to a girl and she smiles the one day, but the next day she's kind of neutral, and then you start overthinking. Or you might have sent a person a text and you're kind of checking the phone every 15 minutes to see what they reply. Or maybe in mid conversations, when you're listening to a person, instead of listening in the present, you kind of go in your head and you're thinking, oh, what do I say next? Or if I say this, would it be awkward? Or is it the right thing to say? So here you might think the problem is more social skills. You might think that you need better pickup lines. You might think you need more confidence. You might think you need more charisma. Or you might think you need overall more game. But as I went deep down this rabbit hole, I found out the actual problem is what I found out. It's your emotional frame. It's your energy, either flowing outward or flowing inward. It's how you hold your emotional frame. Hi, this is Prayan, and today we are going to talk about a new concept that I have developed. It's called the law of one arrow. So let's begin this video. So what is this law of one arrow? Action. Okay, so I'm reacting now to the situation because I feel disturbance in the background. And this is exactly what is the concept of one arrow, law of one arrow. Either you feel affected by the disturbance or you're not affected by it because you're generating your own state, your own emotions. Right now I was trying to delay the content that I'm going to make because I felt disturbance right now in the background, which is fine. I mean, that's affecting, then my frame is affected. If that's not affecting, then I affect the frame. Then I share the vibe in this environment. I set the tone of the environment. So let's talk about this. What happens when the arrow is pointed inwards versus what happens when the arrow is pointed outwards? So right now, if I listen and if I give energy, oh, what's happening? No, I need to create content, but someone in the background is talking loudly. So that means that I would be at an effect of other person versus if I don't care, I'm unbothered and I just create content and share you the knowledge and the wisdom of what I am supposed to share, then I'm at the cause instead of being at the effect. And when I'm at the cause, I stop pinging. I don't look for environmental stimulus to affect my own state, to affect my behaviors or my words or even my emotions. Let me break this down in much more detail. When the arrow is pointed inwards, you would think, right? You would be overthinking. You would think, right? Oh, does she like me? What should I say? What kind of behavior should I like portray? And that's where you would be in a place. No, subtle things like her facial expressions would affect you. Why did she like roll her eyes? No, maybe like you would wait for the right signal. You'd wait for the signal to make a move. And let's say if she is being neutral, you'd kind of even like go silent or push back. You'd think I won't talk to her for next 2 days. Even that comes off as reactive, right? So you're at the effect anyways. Even if you try not to show it, internally you are at the effect. And what if the set is warm, right? She's smiling and talking to you nicely. Oh, then you'd be over investing. Oh, that's like, oh, positive signal for you. Then you'd start over investing. So all these behaviors, right, if you see, comes off as consumptive because you're trying to consume. You're trying to consume from the environment. You know, it's like, oh, precious. Where's the precious stone? It's like precious. You're trying to consume. You want this. This is mine. Oh, this is mine. It's like you're contracting. You're in a state of contraction. Same thing with like social media, right? You scroll social media. You're bored, right? You don't have anything that you're creating from you, within you. So what happens is you just scroll, you get some stimulation, and those emotions are not yours. Those emotions have been generated by the scrolling that you're doing on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, right? So you're being at the effect over here. The arrow is hitting inside. The arrow has been hit on you. The arrow is pointing inwards from your screen, maybe from the social interactions that you're trying to seek validation from, or you're trying to read how the interaction is going, you're trying to figure out the signals. So all this is when you're at the effect. Now let's talk about when you're at the cause, when the arrow is pointed outwards. You see the subtle shift in my body language as I say this. Before I was a bit more like, oh, when it is inward. So I went in the same experience when it was pointed inwards. But now, let's see it's pointed outwards. So when it's pointed outwards, you'll see that you don't care about the reaction. You don't care if people are watching me, what the fuck am I saying, what the hell am I, like a guru or saint or something. You won't care of anything or anyone looking at you. You'd just be in your own zone. You'd not even care of where the interaction is going. You'd just be flowing and you won't rush. You won't rush at all because you are at ease. You're comfortable with yourself. You accept your own energy. Because now, when you are at effect, you're generating your own state. You are having your own pace. You're not going with the pace of the environment, right? Let's say the pace of the environment is that of rush. So you won't go along with the crowd because you confirm and affirm what you feel inside. If you feel like walking slowly, you'll walk slowly. If you feel like hopping, like you'll hop. If you feel like running, you'll run. Like the kids are over here, how they are running and hopping. You'd be expressive, basically, is what I'm trying to say. You won't have an outcome. You'd be flowing. And most importantly, you'd be sharing the energy, like as I'm sharing with you. I'm sharing this energy that I feel right now in the moment. And you don't care about winning or losing at all. Winning and losing comes when you think about the results. And it's like you're trying to think of the effect things would have if you do this or do that. Whereas, if you are at the cause, you would already give, and see if there is a result, it's okay. If you win, it's okay. If you lose, still okay. The only thing that mattered was that you gave. Your energy flew outwards. The arrow was pointing outwards rather than pointing inwards. Simple concept, like if it's pointing inwards, you're gonna get hit, you're gonna get injured. And most people, they beat themselves up. They have social anxiety. They say they have anxiety, they have depression. It's not anxiety, it's not depression, it's the cause and effect. Like, you have just taken the arrow and you have pointed it towards you, and now you're saying you have anxiety, depression, OCD, you have fucking whatnot, bullshit garbage. That's just the surface layer. The deep reason is you're at the effect. So, another thing that when you're at the cause, you won't be having anxiety or like depression, and you won't be overthinking, problem of overthinking and all that. You'll be calm, you'll be grounded, you'd be having a masculine gravity, you would not care much, you'd be at much more ease, you'd be at present, right? You wouldn't need social media, that cheap fucking dopamine to generate. Let that fucking piece of 6-inch piece of phone to generate emotion within you, because I can generate emotion within myself. Right now, if you ask me, I can get horny as fuck. I mean, it's a garden, it's a public place, but I can still either get horny or I can also become a mom and sit for an hour on this fucking video and not care about my cameraman's hand because he's holding the phone for a fucking long time. Like, his hand is paining. But I need to be human. I care for you, brother. So let's move on. So you see, the moment you want something from her is the exact moment when the arrow flips and it turns inwards. But when you don't care of what you want from her or anything from the situation, the arrow moves outward, right? And that's where your groundedness comes in effect. That's where the magnetism has ground to hold. So you draw people in. But where else, if you need, that's where, the attraction dies. Because now you kind of are coming off as like seeking or being pushy, or you kind of are already part of their frame because you have nothing going on in your own frame, in your own world. How does this turn out to be in the dating scenario? How does this turn out to be in your sexual intent that you have? So most common things that you'd notice is you try to fix your loneliness by needing her. You try to have more sex just for validation. You would start fantasizing to get in the mode of like just receive. I just want to receive. That's where the fantasy loop starts taking place in your brain, because you just want. You want energy from the universe, and you just fail to understand that there's abundance of energy in the universe. No matter how much you want, it's never gonna be enough for you. And you're part of the universe, so you also have abundance of energy. It's one of the most important thing that you would also be missing, because you have abundant energy. You don't want now because you already have that abundant energy. That's where the realization kicks in that now you would be giving instead of wanting. So how does that play out is when you want, you have the lust pointed inwards, right? It's just like need, want, like it's the lust pointed inwards. Whereas when you give, when you express, it's like radiating your eros, you radiate your magnetism. So when you radiate, right? When you radiate, your desires are still there, right? You want it, but in a playful way. You're not attached to it. Your desires would be moving through you and not at her. Like you're trying to place this desire at her instead of moving it through you outwards. So that's where like you would be more inviting instead of being more invading. It's like, you understand, right? I'm here right now. And right now, if I need something, I would be more invasive from you, right? If I say like, subscribe, I want you to comment, share this with your friends, please do it. It's like me needing. Versus I'm here, like if you like it, I mean, you will obviously share, you will obviously subscribe. People have subscribed, right? This is me inviting you all. So how do you flip the arrow now? The main question is, how do you fucking flip the arrow? Right? If you are in a state that the arrow is pointing inwards, you need to flip it. How do you flip it? First of all, you need to monitor your emotional weather. What is an emotional weather? So you are either affected by the emotional weather of other people, of other situations or environment, or you have the ability, the capacity to generate your own fucking emotional weather. Right? That's how you flip the arrow, by generating your own emotional weather. So what happens when you generate your own emotional weather is your fantasism turns into more grounded presence. You stop consuming, you start creating, you start expressing more, and you start responding. You don't react. You let the emotions come. You allow time to process it. You allow yourself to process it, and then you respond to it. Instead, if you are in part of other people's weather, you just react to the rain, storm, thunder, sadness, happiness, whatever emotional weather that they are in. That's gonna affect you, because your mirror neurons are going to pick up on their emotions. So you see, in any given interaction, whoever emotions are strongest would affect the other person, and they would buy into your emotion. They would also start feeling the same emotions. And that's where they would start reacting or behaving accordingly in that particular moment. So just to summarize this, arrow pointing inward, it's reactive, you're in a bondage kind of phenomena because you feel like jail. It's a jail everywhere you go, every situation that you're in, any kind of people or person that you interact with, you don't have your own fucking expressiveness or you don't have your own frame. But whereas when the arrow is pointing outwards, you are expressive, you experience freedom within yourself. No matter what other person, emotions or other situations or things that are going on externally, because you have your own state, you have your own center that you are staying in. So most men, when they say that they are unattractive, they don't look good, it's about the looks, it's about the money, it's like blah 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 blah. What they are saying is they are living in other person's weather. They're living in what socially conditioned the frame is. They're living in that frame. They are trying to match what others have set a norm that should be or shouldn't be. So as a result, what happens is you start living up to those norms, those conditions, or those judgments that have been set by the society or institutions around you. And that's where you sense that it's affecting you. Whereas a man who knows where he wants to go, who knows what he wants in life, who doesn't care of what others emote or what others expect out of you to behave, would be expressive and people would be reacting to him, right? People would be respecting him, in fact, much more. So I'll leave you with one important question before ending this video. So you need to ask yourself, what am I feeling that I created without anyone, without an external stimulus, without any other person's frame, any person's emotions? What is that? Let's say like I'm sitting here all by myself, alone. So what is that I created right now? I created a lot of things. I create my own smile. I create my own laughter. There's no reason to laugh right now. And I create my own peace. And I create my own solitude. This is what I create right now. It's like being created, not even like create. Because you see, how does an arrow flow? You don't throw an arrow, right? You don't force an arrow, right? It's not like a javelin throw, you throw an arrow. Arrow is release, right? You release the arrow. You just release the arrow. And that's exactly how you flow, right? It's a muscle of release. It's not a muscle of forcefully you trying to feel certain emotion, you trying to feel happy. This is what it feels like when you try to throw the arrow outward. I'm happy. Like, it's just a mask of happiness. Even if you feel happy or smiling right now, it's just a mask. But let's see when you try to release the arrow. This is how it feels to release the arrow. I'm happy. I'm very happy. Maybe I'm not right now. I'm at ease. I'm at peace. This is when you release the arrow. There would be subtle micro expressions, your tonality, your body language, the way you breathe, that gives away. Are you like in expansion or release mode? Are you contracting and trying to force or throw the arrow forcefully? That. So I hope this helps. This is like 10 years of wisdom. I tried to compress it in 10 minutes. And give yourself some time to evaluate this concept. Let it sink in. And This is not a technique to be applied. This is more of self-awareness. So you know what's going on exactly in your behavior pattern, in your life, in your internal state. So hope this helps. This is Brian signing off. See you in the next video.